Welcome back to Dark Souls 2 Easy Mode Playthrough, a series where I teach you how Dark Souls 2 is not a bad game, you just suck at it. And as we go into the Forest of the Fallen Giants, today I'm going to be teaching you guys the in-game engine and its mechanics and how to fully utilize it in combat. So without any further ado, let's get right back into it. Alright, so we made it to the first level of the game, and right out the bat you see Shrek's little brother over there in the river. That's a fight you don't want to take and should be tried to be avoided at all costs. What I want you guys to really pay attention to is how from here you can already see the first bonfire of this area. As this little dude comes at me, I hit him with an R1 and then an R2 because this weapon's moveset makes it so that the R2 comes out faster than the second R1. So instead of doing two R2s, you want to do R1, R2. Over in this area we can pick up that item we saw earlier on last episode, which is just a homeward bone and a soul of a lost undead. Quick note, I don't know if you guys caught that, but I did wind up switching to two-handing the Morning Star because doing so slightly boosts your damage output. Okay, so I know what you guys are thinking, so here's how to defeat him. So I don't recommend this, but if you must fight him in the water, all you really have to do is hide behind his butthole, like I mentioned before. Because if you do, it'll just trigger him to try and freaking slam you with his cheeks, and you could clap him up all you like. He does drop 1,000 souls and can potentially drop some Titanite shards for upgrading your weapons and armor, and is actually a very good early farm. I'm not gonna farm him, but you guys feel free to do so yourselves. But I'd much rather get the bonfire before anything else. And these enemies in this area are so easily backstabbable. Like, you could get the backstab without even being right behind them, which is honestly freaking funny as hell. Okay, so before we get into one of the craziest ganks in this freaking game, I want to take a second to explain to you guys a little bit more about the engine and how this game works, because the fact that Dark Souls 2 uses a different engine than Dark Souls 1 did is a huge consensus as to why a lot of people don't like this game. I'm going to try and do my best to simplify it as best as possible to get you guys to understand this engine and for you guys to be able to master it and then realize that it's actually not too bad and it's super fun once you get it down. So in Dark Souls 1 you only had 4 directions you could dodge when locked on, which also limited the directions in which you could attack in, leaving you only with this. But this changed in Dark Souls 2 because when you're locked onto an enemy, the game allows you to roll in 8 different directions and it allows you to attack in 3 different forward directions. The thing about Dark Souls 2 and Gank Fights is the fact that most people haven't learned how to fight unlocked, which is huge in Dark Souls 2. You need to learn how to fight unlocked because you have better control of your character if you do so, because being locked on to an enemy limits your movement incredibly, subsequently limiting your ability to dodge and attack back successfully. And so most people who never learned how to fight unlocked are those people who complain about this game and its Gank Fights being impossible. All you have to do is just learn to fight unlocked. Simple. Because fighting unlocked grants you more control and freedom. One of the biggest reasons why people hate this game is the fact that Dark Souls 2 uses a different engine than Dark Souls 1. That will take some time to get used to and master, as it is a lot slower and clunkier. Stamina is a lot more costly in this game than any other Soulsborne game. It costs more stamina to roll compared to Dark Souls 1 or Dark Souls 3. Going negative, i.e. performing an action that uses up more stamina than your current bar allows for, will penalize you in the form of your character taking an extra second before stamina regeneration. This essentially eliminates panic rolling, as your stamina bar will not be able to recover fast enough from the negative zone for you to keep on rolling, unlike Dark Souls 3. Or Elden Ring, to be honest. All of this means that you must be paying attention to not overly spend your stamina. Every move you make in this game should be measured, lest you pay the price for it. But that shouldn't be hard to do because not only is your character slow, but everything else in this whole entire game is slow. From enemies' attacks and recovery time, which means that if you can make your enemies miss, you could definitely punish during the recovery time. One other thing I don't think is talked enough is how backsteps in this game have invincibility frames, and you could essentially use it as a dodge, and it's just a really cool mechanic overall. Lastly, I'd like to talk about how you can parry without a shield. All you need to do is double hand your weapon or even utilize your offhand weapon to hit L2 and parry without a shield. Okay, so with all that in mind, let's go ahead and show you guys how to best traverse the Forest of the Fallen Giants. You're gonna want to do this. Take out these two little enemies here, and here comes one of the first, I guess frustrating or possibly frustrating areas of the game, where essentially you're distracted by some enemies and then an archer starts blasting you from far away in the head, staggering you, making it impossible for you to fight. So what do? What you do is you lure the enemies away from the archer so that the archer can't hit you and you have a better chance to fight these enemies, because if you don't, they can stagger you and gank you to death. Not that hard, honestly. Like, you can complain about it that it's not fair because the archer is black. Dude, it's just move away from the archer. It's that easy. Then go ahead and run towards the archer and backstab the shit out of him for being an asshole. And don't get backstab yourself. R1, R2, and he's gone. Side note, these enemies can be parried, so if you think you're good enough and you are parry god, go ahead and try and parry these guys. You don't have to, but it is a lot of fun. Remember that when parrying, every attack has a different parry window. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and jump down here and pick up this shiny, which I'm pretty sure is just a Soul of a Lost Undead. Free XP, go get it. Okay, so now we can progress on forward. Heal up with the life gem, which is an item that I don't know if I explained it already, but it heals you over time and is a one-time use item. At the beginning of the game, they are kind of rare, but you will eventually be able to buy it unlimitedly. And it's going to be pretty much the main healing source, even besides the Estus flask. And now, as I prepare my taskbar, comes the gankiest area of them all. If you're not careful here, and you go ahead and try and pick up all of these items, you will get ganked by about 15 little bastards that just decide to spring up. And the best way to approach this area is what I do here. One by one, pick these guys off and backstab them. Because if you don't, you just run around here and try and pick up every item around here, these guys are just gonna jump you and they're gonna fuck you up, man. They're gonna fuck you up bad. So if you know, take your time, man. Go one by one. Be patient. Patience is bliss in these games. The more patience you have, the better it is. The more you rush in these games, the more you are punished and the harder it is. I go ahead and lure this guy out over here because there is a knight somewhere on top over there throwing fire bombs, and I did not want to get hit by the fire bomb. So, which is why I lured this guy over here, and I want for you to pick up these items. It's not a bad gank fight. Like, honestly, if you fall for it, then you fall for it, you die. Who gives a shit? The bonfire is right there. What you should learn is that, like, it's a gank fight. Don't just go around and freaking wake all of them up. You know? You're supposed to learn from your mistakes. So, as long as you pick them off one by one, you should be okay. You're then gonna come this way, go up this ladder, and then come back down immediately because this bastard needs to go pee or something. Just bash his head in, and then he's all good. Then you're gonna go up the ladder, and we're gonna go kill that knight that's up there throwing fire bombs. Because if you don't, honestly, 2 or 3 of those fire bombs can kill you, and it's pretty annoying. Look at him. There he is, that little freaking skinny bastard. I don't know what the fuck is preventing me from going forward here. Some type of invisible wall, but I want this free XP, so I pick that up, rush over to this little guy, this skinny little bastard, and bash him in the head. Don't fall down from up here because you can die. Instead, jump over towards the right on this ledge and pick up another free XP and a short sword, which you can replace for the Morning Star if you like. I'm gonna stick with it because, like I said, strike damage is gonna be way better in this area. But if you want a faster weapon, you can go ahead and equip the little straight sword that we picked up there. Backstabs are your friend in this game. Try and get good at backstabs, you know? Just go behind the enemy and get you that backstab. Bash them in the back of the head and, you know, do so much freaking damage that they die. Okay. This guy here, he can be a little bit challenging as he does have a lot of hyper armor and poise break damage with that sword, but you can easily dispose of him with a throwing knife. No big deal. You see how utilizing every single item in your inventory makes the game a lot easier, and I mentioned that because it's something that I don't see a lot of people doing. Is people like to hoard items in this game. I'm a victim of it. I used to do that too, but it's useless. Like, they're there for you to use those items, and if you use them, the game becomes a lot more easier, man. So try and utilize these items you're picking up, the throwing knives, the fire bombs. Use it. It's only gonna benefit you. Here I thought I picked up a better armor than I thought it was, and I was gonna switch to it, but it turns out I picked up garbage. So yeah, I was just like, wait a minute, did I pick up that dude's armor? It turns out it's just it was just like a common soldier armor. I thought it was the knight armor. Whatever. Before I forget, there is a jump that you can make over here that's really risky, but if you want to do it, go ahead. And you see that item down there, all you gotta do is take a couple step backs, get a running start, and then jump off straight to the item and pick up your reward for a throwing knife and a solo of enemy soldiers, which is actually pretty decent XP, and 10 throwing knives, not bad. Now you gotta do is just jump down and you're all good. This little area up here can be a little bit challenging because it is quite constrictive. I like to go straight in here and then just immediately start killing these two guys. It's another gank fight. Look at that. And again, not hard at all. Not hard at all. Take out these three little guys. Pick up the throwing knife and the bandit's knife, which is a really cool knife. I really like the design of this knife, actually. I think it just looks so badass. I switch off to it, and yeah, it looks cool, man. It looks so freaking cool. I don't know, I like it. What else can I say? I've used it before in the past. It's a decent little dagger. It is what it is. I equip my throwing knife, heal up a little bit, and go and try and backstab this guy straight in the asshole with the bandit's knife, and he's dead. I just want to do that, which is why I switched off to it. Here you want to aggro this guy and not the other guy like I did here. I messed up. I only wanted to aggro the big knight to kill him, but I messed up and aggroed the little knight here. So what I wound up doing is coming back around here to break them off and have a better chance at fighting them one-on-one. Why? Because I don't want to get ganked. So you have to be smart in situations like this. If you know you can't handle two guys at once, that's what she said, break them off. Look, I almost get killed here because I lost track of the other guy. It's also another very important skill to have, is to track where all the enemies are at. Okay, it's a skill issue, a knowledge issue that most people either don't want to, think about, and they wind up blaming the simple fact that it's a gank fight. But if you just think a little bit about the situation you're in, trust me, it won't be as hard. You see what I did there? I had the little dagger to kill the other guy super fast, and then switched up to the Morning Star to do more damage to the more beefier guy. That's what I mean about thinking about what you're doing in these games, okay? And utilizing everything that you have in your inventory, because it can all come in handy at all situations. Here, I quickly run up and ignore the guy with the bow and go for the big guy here that has fire bombs, who can be also really freaking annoying. Bash him in the head, get rid of him, and then quickly jump back down and get some cover and heal up, because there's two archers up there, and if you're not careful, they will mow you down. I then take out my shield to block some of the arrows and take out the little guy and the archer. The second archer is on top of a wall, which you cannot reach like quite yet, so just be careful with him, as he is just going to be shooting arrows at you. Over here you could come and pick up this buckler, which is a parry shield, something you can utilize if you're good at parrying. I don't do much parrying, as I prefer backstabs, but if you want, the option is there. Next up is picking up these witching urns that are protected by this knight here. who has a really slow moveset, honestly, but does a lot of damage. He can't kill you in like 2 hits. And there, I think I did pick up his leggings. You could check, or I go and check to make sure to see if they were better than what I was wearing. It turns out they're not. So, you know, always check for stuff like that when you pick something up. You know, check to see if that equipment is better than what you have right now, and then judge for yourself if you're gonna want to use it. Through these doors is the next bonfire. That's actually going to serve as the basically bonfire hub for this whole entire area, because the way this area is designed is so freaking masterfully. It only utilizes this one bonfire for the whole entire area. It's awesome. And then we go have Melentia, who sells a bunch of really good items actually. Some of these weapons can be really good, especially the hand axe, the Estus I'm looking at there. She does have the traveling merchant armor set, which the hat I'm gonna buy because it does increase your discoverability and makes it so that you get more drop rates. It's actually a pretty good item for the beginning of the game. She does sell human effigies and this key, which opens the blacksmith over back in Majula. Really good item, only 1,000 souls. We have 2,000. It's honestly really worth it. I recommend you buy it. She also does sell stuff like those 10 life gems, the fire bombs, the throwing knives, all really good items, you know, to give you more of a rangy attack, since we don't really have anything for that right now. She does have the bright bugs, which increase more damage and receive less. It's a really good buff and a really rare item. I recommend you buy them and actually save those for hard bosses. She also does sell the Faros Lockstone and the Fragrant Branch of Ver, which are 2 key items that we're going to need later on in the game to progress through certain areas, but we don't need to worry about those so much right now. Because right now, the first thing you actually want to do is come up through these stairs and to the 2nd floor. You're going to find this door, which is going to be locked. But whoever needs a fucking key, dude, just fucking break the thing down. And then we have a crystal lizard, which you can try and take out before he runs away. And here I failed miserably because I just spammed the shit out of R1. Completely freaking missed. But there are a few items in here, like the hand axe, which you don't need to buy anymore. A radiant life gem, the hollow soldier helm, which is an okay helm, I guess, if you really want to use it. It's, I don't know, it's kind of ugly. I don't really like it. There is another chest in here, which I was having really hard time finding because it's so dark in here, but I wound up finding it. To pick up a small leather shield and some repair powder, which repair powder comes in handy because there is weapon degradation in this game, meaning that your weapon will eventually break if you don't fix it or sit down at a bonfire, which you do fix it with the repair powder. Here's a small little ambush, nothing too bad. Take this guy out, easy peasy. Now, for whatever reason, I completely ignored the chest that's in this room and went for this item over here that's on this branch. It honestly is way more worth it, as it is a divine blessing, one of these items that will give you a complete heal, but it is a one-time use only. I then went to set the bonfire to reset the area and respawn the crystal lizard so that I could get its delicious yummy innards, which end up being some Titanite shards, which are pretty good because it's 2 of them and we can level up our weapon using these. This makes it so that we now have 3 of them and allows us to level up our weapon to a +2, in addition to also having that twinkling Titanite shard that we picked up early in the beginning when we traded with the crows. Then went ahead and traveled back to Majula because it's time to level up that ADP again. So we go ahead and pop all the souls we picked up and we're all gonna just invest them into ADP again. If you do this from the beginning of the game like I'm doing right now and you just get it out of the way, you won't have to worry about it later on. And it's technically the best stat to level up in the beginning of the game because, again, it gives you more iframes and it increases the speed at which you heal. Ultimately, just making it one of those necessary evils that you'll be very glad to have taken care of early on at the beginning of the game. And you will see how this is going to pay way more dividends than leveling anything else up. Because, as you guys are going to watch me, I'm going to get through the Forest of the Fallen Giants without really leveling up my vigor, my stamina, anything else. All I really level up right now is ADP, and I'm still gonna get through the forest without much pushback. I also did equip the Traveler's hat on because it does increase the likelihood of enemies dropping their armor sets or just consumables in general, and it's gonna overall just come very handy for acquiring different weapons, armor sets, and life gems, which we'll be using a lot of. Plus, y'all can't tell me I'm not rocking this shit. Like, look at that handsome young man right there, ladies. I know y'all ain't gonna about to be handling all this. But for now, we're gonna be going to talk to the guy, the little sad guy up there, because he's gonna allow us to join a covenant. A covenant, guys, something that Elden Ring doesn't have, and is why I cannot give that game a 10 out of 10. So, what are covenants? Covenants is kind of like a guild that you join that emphasizes multiplayer gameplay across the whole entire game. And the first one you get to join is this one, the Way of the Blue. And all it does is you put the ring on, making it so that you are part of that guild. And if you would happen to be invaded, guess what happens? A blue comes to the rescue and defends you. Same thing as Elden Ring, except that you actually get rewards in this game for either being a blue and defending somebody getting invaded, or being the invader and killing somebody, which then you could go return those rewards to your guild leaders or covenant leaders for in-game rewards like spells, weapons, rings. Again, what a freaking awesome idea, not only to incentivize multiplayer, but just overall giving this game a way more longevity overall. Again, something Elden Ring doesn't have, and is super disappointing to me, and why I will never give that game a 10 out of 10. But let's talk about covenants later, because right now we need to get back to the Forest of the Fallen Giants. Okay, so now that we're here, go ahead and go over to Melentia and buy some fire bombs. Why? Because they're going to become essential to opening up a really crucial shortcut we're about to do, and you need a fire bomb. So go ahead and grab one of those for yourself. Next thing is going down the ladder to the fiery pit. For some reason, why is there a fiery pit there? I have no idea. Anyways, there's a bunch of sleeping knights here that you could easily pick off. Oh, look, a firebomb. I didn't even need to buy one. Whatever. They're useful anyways. They're never bad to have in your pocket. These knights are easily disposed of. Again, taking double damage because of the strike damage that the Morningstar deals. And I don't know, I guess they drank too much last night. They're all passed out. Just fuck them up. Pick up the Soul of a Lost Undead, free XP. Well, you can never go wrong with picking up free XP. Before you run into that fog wall, take this guy out. He's throwing up or something. Again, he drank too much with his buddies last night. Take him out of his misery. Over here is a door that you will not be able to open. We need to beat the boss of this area, and he will drop the key to open that door. So for now, don't worry about it. Go ahead and run through the fog wall and run up this collapsed decaying tree up to where that little archer was before shooting us when we were coming up from the other side. And next to this big giant turtle man, or I don't know what he is, man, but he is really hard to fight. And what do? Well, you use the environment. Oh, I love doing that. That's like the easiest way to dispose of this guy. Just let him blow himself up. Here, I was gonna try and throw a firebomb at those barrels and hit the archer, but I failed miserably. No big deal. Just fucking whack him in the head, and he should be done. Alright, next up is a little tricky area, but what I like to do is come and run over to this corner right here to aggro that knight down there. And make sure that like I get him away from that guy up there throwing a bunch of fire bombs. You want to get away from that, because if he hits those fire barrels, he's gonna pop your ass harder than Osama bin Laden. And here, from the safety of our, well, safety, we can dispose of both of these guys. Backstab them without even being behind them. That's always so funny to me. Pick up another life gem, and then get your fire bombs ready. Freaking Kobe that shit, break that wall down, and ta-da, we're back up here with good old Melentia. Okay, so with the shortcut now open, we're gonna go ahead and do one of the riskiest things to do early on in this game. But honestly, it's gonna be super worth it, and you're gonna like it. You're gonna thank me for this. But what you do is you get up on this ladder, okay, and then you just run straight for this item right here in the middle, because it is an Estus flask. There you go. Now we got 5 Estus flasks. Jump down, and don't worry about what the hell just landed behind you on top over there. It's nothing, you know. It'll be gone in a second. There you go. He's gone. Make sure he's gone. And then you can go up and get the rest of the items. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, well then go ahead and fuck around and find out. But knowing that the coast is clear, I now come up here again and just get these items up here. Now you can go back immediately to Majula and get yourself another Estus flask from the Emerald Herald, but I'm just gonna decide to go ahead and keep going forward. Coming up is one of the funniest freaking I don't know, cutscenes, scripted events, I guess, it's just so freaking funny. I love it. Go ahead and pick up this green blossom first, okay? And then when you're down here, you see this broken wall. Step like 2 feet in, and then immediately run out, and then watch this guy get freaking wrecked. Oh my god, it's a nasty little trap that if you go in there, you're gonna get wrecked by the ballistas, and also by these two guys, where I completely forgot that they were gonna come out in that fast and barely make it out by my toenails. Like, wow, that was so freaking risky. Go ahead and heal. Pop the life. Well, actually, you could have popped life gem. I don't know. That's up to you. But plunging attacks, guys. I missed, but if you can get them, do them. You can block with weapons too, not just with shields. But you are still going to be taking some damage, so be careful doing that. And now you can walk in here, and in here is just going to be one last guy, which is the guy that shot his boy in the back. And we're going to kill him because he's a freaking traitor, even to his own kind. He deserves no freaking mercy. In here is actually a lot of good items, and we're just going to grab them up. I think up here is a little shield, and there we go, a large soul and a blue wooden shield, which I go ahead and equip just because I really like the design of this shield. It's just so cool. It reminds me of like Braveheart or something. And then we're gonna go ahead and head down here because there's a bunch of good items over here that you don't want to miss. First is this chest though, and this chest is a cheeky freaking bastard. It's a trap. I don't know, somebody farted. Pick up the Titanite shard, and then over here is another locked door, which we cannot open, but it's okay. All cause, and this is one of my favorite things about this game, all you have to do is knock. Just, let them know that you're trying to come in. And look at that, they open the door for you, welcoming them to to their death. Look at that. That little throwing knife came in so handy, dude. Like, that's what I mean about, like, not hoarding that stuff, dude. Just freaking use it, dude. Okay, so these guys can be extremely annoying with their shields. And a quick trick to get past their shields is to press forward on the analog stick and R1 at the same time. Your character will then proceed to bash their shield away, and then you can hit them. That's a mechanic that you can use against other enemies who are shield wielders, except for bosses, of course. And in this room is going to be a big metal chest. And what's in that chest, you ask? Well, none other than the life ring, one of the starting gifts that you could have gotten or chosen, which is why I told you not to choose it, because here we go, first level of the game and we already have it. So do not choose the life ring. If you did, you fucked up, because now you have 2 and you can't wear 2. You can only wear 1. You don't have enough fingers. The next thing to do is this over here, which we need a Faros lockstone with, and it's gonna open up another area down here with 2 really great items, but we don't have that yet. But it's something that we could pick up rather quickly back at Majula. But first we need to get the key to the mansion at Majula, because that is where the Faros lockstone is at, and we need that. But before we do that, let's come out here and talk to Pate real quick. And yeah, he's just gonna tell you about some treasure that he found or whatever. And he says, his pockets are full, so you can go ahead and get it yourself. And if you want to go ahead and do that, do it. If you come back and talk to him afterwards, he will reward you with a white soapstone, which is the way that you can put your summon side down on the ground if you want to do some co-op and get some people to summon you into their world and help them, you know, beat their bosses. So I'm gonna go ahead and skip over that right now. We will come back to it, but I just want to progress through the rest of the level, open up the shortcut, and we'll be one closer to fighting or, you know, defeating the boss of this area. Okay, so up here is something funny that happens or can happen. I don't know why or what causes it, but it's just freaking hilarious because it's like you're trying to fight this guy, right? And out of nowhere, like what was that? I have no idea why that happens, but that dude's just gonna run around the entire map, like not even hitting you. He's just gonna be running around like a freaking maniac. It's fucking hilarious. I don't know what causes it, but it's in the game and it's never been patched out, so who knows if that's what FromSoft wanted. Like, what the hell is Miyazaki thinking with that one? Okay, so right here for these guys, remember to utilize that forward R1 input, which will cause you to shield bash them, and then you can whack them in the head, because these guys can just be so annoying hiding behind their shields like Wings of Redemption. It's just like, come on bro, do something else please. I'm tired of watching your lame ass freaking wait, there's an item up there, and if you want to get it, I suggest you get this item first actually, and then you know, you don't have to fight that guy, but if you must, there really isn't any explosive barrels for you to, like, you know, make him blow himself up. So instead what you want to do is just let him attack you. He has pretty slow recovery, so let him swing and a miss and hit him, swing and a miss and hit him. Don't get greedy, because if you get greedy, he will fucking smash your ass like a pancake. So, you know, just punish him on his recovery time, and you guys should be all good to go. He did drop his leggings, which are too freaking heavy for me to wear. And now back to this item up here. This item is guarded by a huge freaking gank, which you can try and dispose off before they rush you. But if you don't, then you're just gonna die like I did. Okay, and as stupid as that is, yes, that is the first official death of the run. I know, stupid, right? It's like, out of everything that could have killed me, that's what kills me. Whatever, it is, it is. You look like beef jerky now, but I'm just gonna go ahead and run all the way back to where I was at, because I want to open that shortcut. So my bad, I did skip over this part earlier when I got here, but essentially you want to bait those guys up there to throw a firebomb and blow everything up down here, so that you can go run through without any, you know, hesitation. Okay, so this is what you actually want to do. You want to make sure to lure them out just enough so that you can run back down, and that way you don't get ambushed on the tippity top or tippity tip of that sword in the middle of the freaking ocean, where you can easily die. And then you just bring them down here and, you know, take them out, you know, fairly easily. They're little gank soldiers, they shouldn't be too hard. And honestly, the reward up here is pretty worth it. It is a Hellberg, I forget which one it is actually, but it's a new weapon that you can use, and if you want to grab it for yourself, you could do so and start utilizing it. Hellbergs in this game are actually some of the best weapons for PvE, so, you know, go ahead and grab yourself a Hellberg, and a soul of a name is Soldier. And now we can finally open the shortcut I've been trying to get to for so freaking long. Alright, up through this fog wall, you're gonna go ahead and make a right, and then there's gonna be another drunk little bastard over here throwing his fucking guts out, you know, bash him over the head, give him a nice little bonk, and then you could pick up one of my favorite shields in the whole entire game, the large leather shield. Now, for whatever reason, I just love, actually I know what the reason is. It reminds me of the hoplite shields, like from the, you know, the Greeks, the 300, whatever. I know it's not, it just reminds me of it, okay? And I really like it, and it's a pretty good early game shield actually. So if you guys want that, go ahead and pick it up for yourself. Go ahead and grab these fire arrows, and now we can open this gate. And now we've officially come one step closer to finding the boss of this area, which is right down that elevator actually, believe it or not. And there's that ladder to go back up to where Malencha is at. I was gonna call it Majula. Malencha is at, and the bonfire. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and go back to Majula so that we could upgrade our Estus, because remember we did grab an Estus shard and we do have a couple of souls we picked up that we can utilize to level up. So now back at Majula, we talk to the Emerald Herald and we give her the shard. She will let you know that if you have a shard in your inventory, and she'll give like a different dialogue. So that's how you can know that you need to give her Estus shard. Now we have 5, and next is popping all those yummy souls we found on the ground. All that free XP. Okay, so I was really debating on dumping all my points into adaptability. Like, I was really just about to do it, but as I thought about it a little bit more, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna level up my vigor and my endurance just a tad bit more to give me a little bit more leniency. Nevertheless, I will continue to focus on leveling up adaptability for the rest of the Forest of the Fallen Giants, as the goal is to really be done leveling it up after the Forest of the Fallen Giants and before we proceed to any of the other areas. Back to the Forest of the Fallen Giants, it was time to go and pick up the godly, the honest to god best weapon in the game that will actually carry you through the end of the game and into the DLC, the Fire Longsword. And all you have to do is jump off that little cliff onto this rampart and just basically walk the plank along the side of the wall of the castle, or whatever this thing is. There's gonna be a bunch of enemies down here. Nothing too crazy, nothing too bad. Just a bunch of small little, enemies that you should be used to fighting by now. The only real challenge is making this little jump here, which is kind of tricky. But if you tilt your joystick to the left when jumping, you should be able to make it without any trouble. Then all you need to do is make yourself down the tree branches and little rampart, being careful not to fall down because you will die. And yes, not even Dark Souls 2 can get away from the platforming that is From Software's awful platforming. And down here, there's just going to be a couple of little enemies, nothing too bad. But there is going to be one of those big clunky turtle guys, which might be a little tough because there are no fire barrels to make himself blow up with. But as long as you bait him to swing and miss, he shouldn't be too hard to dispose of. You then want to head over to the fiery pit of the salamanders, where you are going to have to just run in there and immediately head through the door, which will give you iframes and protect you from the crazy explosive bombs. And here we shall pick up the best weapon in the game, the Fire Longsword. Honestly, guys, this weapon is amazingly freaking good. It has to do a lot with the fact that almost everything in this game, almost every single enemy is weak to fire, and this sword is just, not only does it have a really good moveset, it's also imbued with fire already. So you don't have to go get the coal or the firestone to infuse it with fire. You automatically have one of the best damage dealing weapons in the game right from the beginning. You then want to head over to Melentia and buy that sweet little key she has in her little trunk. Why? Because we're finally going to go free the blacksmith. Or not free him, but let him back in, because somehow he locked himself out. Melentia done stole his friggin' key and then scammed us out of 1,000 souls for it. So back in Majula, you want to head over to the blacksmith house, open the gate, and then go and exhaust his entire dialogue, reset the area, and then you should be able to go and level up your weapons. So with the Fire Longsword in our pocket now, I'm just going to go ahead and dump all my stones and souls into it, managing to get it up to a +2, short of a +3 because I was missing Titanite shards. Now the blacksmith does sell a decent amount of pretty good weapons. I'm looking at the battle axe here, is a pretty good strength weapon, and then the rapier, the S-stock and the rapier. If you don't know, well, dude, rapiers are honestly the best damage or weapon type, in this game, like legit. You honestly can't go wrong with them. He does sell some bolts and some arrows, and of course some Titanite shards, which I end up buying 2 off of just because I want to get that long sword to a +3. With our longsword upgraded now, I am feeling super strong and powerful, and it is now time to head over and talk to Kale so that we can get the key to the mansion at Majula, because there is a bunch of goodies waiting for us down there. So what you want to do is climb up on this tree and then jump on backwards to this little piece of wood, and then just run it all the way over there, because you're going to be under fire by a bunch of archers. There's going to be this asshole in your way, it's going to be that asshole in your way. You want to go ahead and jump over to this other plank. I don't even know what the hell to call this. What is this, like a patio? I don't know. Head over to this cave and then make a complete halt as the Indiana Jones ball just rolls around for whatever freaking reason. Like, where the fuck did that even come from, dude? How? Dude, I don't know. Like, what? Did KO push it off? Was Z trying to kill us? Like, I don't know. He's just there digging at the ground, like looking for worms or something. I don't know. But you want to come over and exhaust his dialogue until he gives you the house key, which is all we came for, and then you could go ahead, head back down towards the tunnel from the same direction from which we came from. But instead of going to the right, we're gonna go ahead and climb this little ladder and come and take our revenge on all those little damn archers that were just blasting us from the side. These guys should be incredibly easy work, especially with the fire longsword. Now, you saw that two-handed R2 basically one-shot him. My god, I'm telling you guys, if this isn't the best weapon in the game, I don't know what the hell is. So back in Majula, we want to go ahead and run towards that big structure all the way towards the back, where we did end up picking up that Estus flask earlier in the playthrough. We're going to go ahead and bust the door down and enter into Gandalf's study. Oh, I don't know, somebody's study. And then we're going to go ahead and pick up this Faros lockstone, which is going to give us some of the best early upgrade materials early on in the game. Like, literally, we'll be able to get a plus 10 weapon with this Faros lockstone. You then want to go and head up to the second floor and look for this little wooden chest, which will contain some more Titanite shards, which will allow us to upgrade our fire longsword even more and make it even better than it already is. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I haven't leveled any damage dealing stat, that being strength or dexterity. The only thing I've really leveled up is adaptability, a little bit of health here, a little bit of stamina, but for the most part it's been adaptability. But take a look at how much damage you're already doing, almost two-shotting enemies at this point. You then want to come down to the basement, take care of this little skeleton, which actually is going to be a little tough. Like, he is going to have, you know, be quite beefy. Pick up the human effigy, which he does drop. Pop it, because you want to restore our humanity back. Get that extra health back. Come over here and then pick up another Estus flask shard. So that makes it 5 now. And then go ahead and pick up this chest to pick up a soul vessel, which is the item that allows you to respect your character if you choose to do so. So before we go back to the Forest of the Fallen Giants, I did come back and upgrade our fire longsword to a +3. And I could have upgraded it all the way up to a +4, but honestly I had run out of souls and I just said fuck it, a +3 is already strong enough anyway. We then head over to the Firekeeper and upgrade our Estus flask. Back at the Forest of the Fallen Giants, you want to come and talk to Melencha, because after buying the key to the mansion, you want to exhaust her dialogue, which will trigger her to come back to Majula, and there she will sell you unlimited life gems. And now to go utilize our Faros lockstone and get our awesome freaking treasure. We're going to be heading over to where the ballista trap is at. You remember, you got to step in, step back out, and somehow they missed killing their buddy here. So it turned into a pretty nasty gank fight if you're not careful, but it shouldn't be too hard, again, with the fire longsword being as strong as it is now. You then want to go ahead and go down the ladder and head over towards the left side of the room, the wall with the funny looking face on it. You're going to insert the Faros lockstone, and then you're going to see this glowy freaking thing on the wall, and you just want to whack it. And ta-da! We then come in here and pick up this wonderful Titanite slab, which will allow us to take our weapon to the max level. You then want to go ahead and open up this chest, because it does have the Chloranthy ring, a ring that restores your stamina recovery by a lot. All of this before even the first boss of the game. I did end up going back to the Majula and upgrading my longsword to a +4, and now it was time. It was time to go defeat our first freaking boss. So we head down the ladder and through the little corridor to the right, where we opened up that shortcut earlier, and then we step on the elevator. A very slow elevator, if I do say so. Actually, all the elevators in these games tend to be really freaking slow, and it's like, I don't know, it's kind of annoying. I switch up my helmet for the fashion souls, of course, as we aren't gonna be really needing any more drop rates. And this door is locked, but don't worry, we will be able to open it eventually. But that's going to be way far into the game, so keep that noted. There's going to be 2 summon signs here. One is Pate, and the other one is this other NPC, which has 2 shields as his weapons. And it's actually, he looks pretty freaking cool. And if you guys really want to make this game easy, go ahead and summon both of them. I don't need it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and walk in here. And after a really cool cutscene, I just love that cutscene. It's so dramatic, so intense. I will pop some of this green herb, which is going to increase my stamina, regeneration even more on top of the Chloranthy ring. And then I'm just going to chop this guy's ankles. And this spot should just be a walk in the park. I mean, technically, this is the, like, not the iron, like the stone golems in Elden Ring. This is essentially what this is. And there's really nothing to this boss. He does break his arm when you deal more than half his health and then try to smack you with it, which I think is a pretty freaking dumb tactic. But all you really have to do again is just chop his ankles and he should go down. You then will receive the Soul of the Last Giant and the Soldier Key. The Soldier Key being a key that will allow us to access other areas of this level, which I haven't touched on yet, but now we shall go and do. So we go up the elevator and back through the little shortcut that we opened up earlier. Kill this enemy, come past that little ladder, across the bridge, kill the other drunk dude, and then we shall be able to open this door right here using the Soldier Key, which we just achieved by defeating the last giant. And then we shall come and get this item. This item is such a good item. Again, right in the beginning of the game, it is the Ring of Restoration, which is a ring that's going to slowly restore your HP as long as you have it equipped. And now our build is coming along very nicely. Like, we are pretty much almost set up for the first, maybe even 2/3 of the game. You then want to come over here, grab this great lance, and then come over here and pick up this other chest and pick yourself up some more Ember herbs. And then there's this guy, which you don't really have to fight, and I'm just antagonizing him here with these witching urns. You can kill him. He is a kind of a tough enemy, he has a lot of HP and hits really hard, but there is a potential of him dropping one of the pieces of his armor or even one of his weapons, which is actually really good stuff if you do get lucky with that. And this guy, honestly, he can be a pushover, as he's actually super easy to get behind with, and then just get yourself a nice little backstab. And with all that done, we can go ahead and come back to Majula, go into our menu, and go ahead and pop the Soul of the Last Giant. Honestly, popping his soul isn't too bad because his weapon kind of does suck. It is a predominantly strength-based weapon, but it's honestly ugly and it's not really a good weapon. So go ahead and just pop it for a nice 6,000 souls, bringing us up to 17,000 souls in total, which are all gonna go into, what? You guessed it, ADP, baby! 19, one short of the 20 that I need, but very close. But no, actually I end up putting some levels in Vigor and Endurance, with the rest of them going right into Adaptability, still being the main stat that we're going to be focusing on. And again, we're not done with the Forest of the Fallen Giants, but once we are, we will have reached our goal of being level 20 Adaptability, and we might bump that up to 25 later on in the game, but for the early game, 20 is really all you need. I did go ahead and waste the rest of my souls on life gems, because life gems are honestly way more useful as a healing item than your Estus flask will ever be. So get in the habit of always coming back in Majula and buying up them life gems with your extra souls. Back at the Forest of the Fallen Giants, you want to go ahead and light a torch at the bonfire because we're gonna need it. The next place we're going to is super freaking dark and we need a torch. So with the key that we end up getting from killing the last giant, you want to go ahead and come over here to that door I told you was locked, and now we can open it. You want to go ahead and light up the sconces in this area because, like I said, it's going to be super dark, and in case your torch goes out, you can use one of these sconces to light it back up. You can come down here without a torch, but it's going to be super hard to see, and you're probably going to get ambushed by all these skeletons, which are just going to be hiding in the dark. And it's just honestly gonna make this fight a lot harder than it needs to be. So I just, just come down here with a torch and you'll have a way easier time. Because another one of the mechanics of this game is that when it's dark, your lock-on distance, the distance at which you can lock into enemies, gets reduced severely in the dark, making it really hard to deal with all these skeletons. So I'm gonna be real honest with you guys right now and let you guys know that there really isn't too much going on down here, and it's actually one of the, or honestly the hardest area of the whole Forest of the Fallen Giants, as there is a bunch of those turtle guys around here, and you do get invaded by a really tough invader actually. And honestly, the only real reason you'd want to come down here is if you want the bastard sword and haven't gotten a drop for it yet. So there is a bonfire down here located just across the way from where we came from on the other side in this little broken room. But you do have to be careful, because as soon as you light the bonfire, you will get invaded by Armored Dennis, one of the toughest NPCs in the whole entire game. Like, this guy is no joke. There's so many memes about this guy. He is super tough. So I go ahead and pop some green blossom to increase my stamina regeneration and commence the duel to the death with this magic wielding R1 spamming son of a bitch, red as mother cracker. Honestly, this might be the closest to an actual person invading you in terms of skill. What you want to do against him is honestly just bait those backstabs. And if he's holding his shield up, remember that you can always shield bash him and try and get that repost on him. Otherwise, be careful because he does spam a lot of magic and he can't heal. I go ahead and hit him through his shield because I do have fire damage and it does go through his shield, and I managed to kill him. So after resting at the bonfire, I then go ahead and make my way back from where I came from and go and pick up the leather armor set, which is going to be up here in this little patio. And it's a decent armor set. I don't know, it's kind of cool. I'm just getting this just so you guys know where it's at. You also do get a large soul level Proud Knight, which is a decent amount of souls. And then I head over towards where the bastard sword is at. And honestly, one of the most horrible ganks in the whole entire game. This shit right here is fucked up. I don't know what the hell FromSoft was thinking, but I'm not gonna lie, this is just messed up, man. Pick up the human effigy, and honestly, the best thing that you can do here is just run around and pick up all the items if you can. If not, you're just gonna get squashed like a bug. Yeah, honestly, the best case scenario is they all bash all the barrels that explode and they kill themselves. Otherwise, just run, pick up the items, and skedaddle. I did miss picking up the bastard sword and had to come back up here and deal with these bastards. But I wound up making it so that two of them blow themselves up with the barrels, and then one-on-one, these guys aren't hard at all. So then go ahead and pick up the bastard sword and then yeet the fuck out of here. Back at Majula, I go ahead and pop all of the physical souls I wound up picking up through the Forest of the Fallen Giants, so I could maximize the amount of XP I had in order to level up. And this time we do go ahead and waste all of our souls into adaptability, getting it all the way up to 18. Walk over to Valencia to spend our extra souls on life gems, and we're good to go. Back at the Forest of the Fallen Giants, we are now finally gonna go ahead and fight my favorite boss of this game and the best boss in this area, the Pursuer. Now, we could have fought him a lot earlier in the playthrough, because if you guys remember when I showed you guys where that first Estus flask in this area was, he did land right behind me. I just, chose to ignore him. Not because I didn't think I could beat him, but because I didn't think you guys could beat him. Oh shit, shots fired, come get me. No, honestly, you guys can't do it that early on if you pick the character with higher adaptability, because his moveset does require you to dodge a lot, and if you have low adaptability, it's gonna be hard to get all his dodges down. And honestly, this boss run back can be really hard, because look at all of these enemies that followed me up here from all the way down there. It's literally like another little mini gank. So if you guys are gonna be doing this boss run, I suggest you guys take care of all the enemies before you come up here, which might eat up a little bit of your resources in terms of life gems, and it's perfectly fine as long as you guys conserve your Estus flask for the actual boss fight. And if you guys need a replenishment, there is 3 life gems there and another soul for some free XP. But now it's time. So before any boss fight, you guys should already have it in your mind to equip anything you think you might need in your toolbar for the boss battle. So for this boss fight, you're gonna want to dodge to the left for the majority of his attacks, especially on that little rush down that he does, which he will be doing a lot if you keep your distance. For this little combo here, again, just dodge to the left and you should be all good as long as you're timing everything right. This next attack honestly looks really freaking cool as he thrusts his sword twice and then a delayed swing. Again, you can easily dodge it to the left if you time it all correctly. Now right there, I did wind up getting some damage. I don't know what it is about this game, but sometimes the hit detection can be really freaking stupid, and honestly is something that I do recognize about this game, and it's a valid reason to hate on it. But honestly, what I've noticed is that the higher your adaptability is, the less likely it is for that to happen. For that thrusting attack where his sword is glowing blue, make sure you're as far away as possible from that thing, because if he hits you, he is gonna curse you and he will then get a buff where he will start to shoot dark magic. You can try and bait that rushdown attack as much as possible. All you really have to do is stay away from him for a little bit and then he'll do it, and you could punish him with 1 or 2 hits from behind. Watch out for that thrusting attack. Once again, it does have really long range, but it can easily be avoided by dodging to the left or to the right. In this little section here, I started messing up and dodging to the right, which is really risky to do because this hitboxes do linger more towards his right side, and it's more easy for him to hit you with those lingering hitboxes. Another great reason as to why you want to be dodging to the left and not the right is because if you end up on his right side and hit his shield like I just did there, you are going to be dealing reduced damage because of it. And if you guys are taking more damage than you guys want, it's important to let him finish doing a full ass combo or one of those big moves before you heal, because he does have a slow recovery time. Another great tip I forgot to give you guys, and it's something that I've already mentioned though, is that using mace weapons or weapons that deal strike damage are significantly going to do way more damage to this guy because he is armored, he is a knight. I only used a straight sword because it was my highest leveled up weapon. I was going to deal the most amount of damage. And just like that, the Berserker has been vanquished and you get the Ring of Blades. It's just a really good ring as it does boost your physical attack damage. You want to equip that as soon as you get it. You also do get his soul, which I'm not going to pop, and I'm going to save to get his boss weapon with, because I actually do like his weapon. It's actually really cool and it's actually a really good ultra great sword. Alright guys, so there's actually a real easy way of defeating this guy, and it's by using the ballistas. All you have to do is make sure he's in front of it, shoot him twice or 3 times with it depending on how far he is, and then that should do it. Now, although that's a very good method and just like a really fast way of disposing of him, I just don't like to do it that way, and instead I like going mano a mano with him and just really showing him who's freaking boss. But with all that done now, we're pretty much done with this area except for one crucial item that we're gonna get after defeating these 2 little knights. Shield bash them, and I should have done the R2 there. The poke would have been so much cooler. Pick up one of their helms and a part of their chest piece, which is a little too late now. I would have liked to have gotten this set a lot earlier, because at this point we are about to get one of the best sets in the game, because not only is it drippy as fuck, but it's also really good, and that is the Drangleic. And here you get the entire Drangleic armor set except for the helm. The helm we get a lot later, and it reminds me a lot of like a Roman soldier type thing. It just looks super sick. You also get the great sword and the shield, which is just an amazing looking set when you put it all together. And really also like a set that can take you to the end of the game as well. I'm not gonna put it on because it's just a set that I've worn way too much, and instead I've equipped the hollow armor that we picked up earlier and mashed it up with some of the Drangleic stuff just to, you know, get our fashion souls going here. I did wind up putting on the merchant hat again just to take advantage of that increased drop rate, and honestly, I don't know, it's kind of growing on me with the whole mustache. It looks pretty funny to me. I don't know, I dig it, I dig it. And with that, there's one last thing to do, and that is to not fight this guy at all. I don't know why I decided to fight him. You don't really have to. I mean, you can if you want to, but really what you want to do is run all the way back to the tippity top. And that's it. Forest of the Fallen Giants has been completed for now. And now what you have to do next is examine this nest. Where you will then be dropped off at the last Bastille next to some treasure. So go ahead and grab that, as it is 2 human effigies and the doll Ember, which we are going to need to give to another blacksmith that will then allow us to infuse our weapons with any elemental damage. Of course, as long as we have the corresponding stone to do so. But for now, it's back to Majula. And here is now where we will conclude leveling up Adaptability, as we can now afford to have it at level 20. And just like I promised you guys, it is the end of the Forest of the Fallen Giants, and we are now leveling up Adaptability, and then we can now focus on leveling up stuff like Strength, Dexterity, Vitality, and everything else. And with that done, we no longer have to worry about Adaptability, and we still have over 90% of the game to go. Like, in Adaptability, that's it. It's done. It's done for it. Like, forget about it. You're all good. So then, you know, go up to Majula, waste the rest of your souls on some yummy, delicious life gems, because they are the best item in the game, honestly. And that's it, man. That's gonna do it. Next time, we shall head into Hyde's Tower of Flame. So if you guys enjoyed the series and are having a good time, remember to smack the like button, comment down below, and tell me why you hate Dark Souls 2, and I'll let you know why you're freaking wrong. And as always, this has been your boy, Ghost Prodigy, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace. Okay, bonus footage, guys. Let's go ahead and walk into Pate's little trap. You're gonna walk in here, and then you're gonna hear, oh, the gate shut behind you, and you're gonna be like, who the fuck, man, who done that shit? You know who did it. And then you will be greeted by a nasty little gank fight, which can be troublesome, honestly, because it is a little small area, and it can feel claustrophobic and constrictive. There we go, that's what I meant to say. But, as you guys should know by now, as long as you fight unlocked and maneuver around, you guys should have this in the bag. Next, there is a couple of hidden items over here, or at least one hidden item behind a hidden wall, which you have to tap X or A, whatever controller you're using, in order to open it. And honestly, it's not really that worth it, but if you guys want it, here it is. You open it up, and I think it's just, what is it, like a staff for shooting magic? I don't know why you would want that. It's like the basic bitch one anyway. And obviously some more Ember herbs to fucking pair up with it. And that's pretty much it. That's all you get. Then all you have to do is go back and talk to Pate, where he will give you the white soapstone, which you can use to put on the ground to be summoned to other people's world for some jolly cooperation.